Here we are, guys, in a new video. So this is going to be an extremely important week, probably one of the most important of the year. In fact, not only this week, but potentially also the next one. The Chinese market has already experienced some volatility, closing in the red. At this moment, the US market has just opened, mainly the S&P 500 and Nasdaq, which have also opened in the red. Bitcoin followed suit in the past few days, stopping me out, by the way, on a long position that closed at a loss. This week is starting with a lot of volatility and is crucial for several reasons. First of all, on Wednesday, April 2nd, the reciprocal tariffs implemented by Trump and other countries will officially begin. On Friday, April 4th, U.S. unemployment data will be released. And then, next week on April 10th, the CPI report will come out, providing inflation data for the U.S. So it's easy to see why we are witnessing volatility and why we will continue to see it in the coming days. All these economic news events will impact the markets, and they already are. The big question many are asking, will the markets crash in the coming days or in the near future? In this video, I will share what I expect in the short to medium term and, of course, how I intend to act, also showing my Bitcoin trades. So, guys, as always, if you're new to this channel and you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. The current market and economic situation. So, we've already closed the markets in the red. The stock market has fallen, and we also saw a Bitcoin correction on Friday. Personally, I was expecting a relief rally for Bitcoin over the weekend while the markets were closed, but that wasn't the case. I went long at a very important level, 84 and just below it, where the 21-period moving average was also located. It was an order book zone with a lot of liquidity, but the market makers decided to keep selling Bitcoin, and we lost a very significant level. At a technical level, we will look at Bitcoin and the S&P 500 in a moment, but right now, the situation doesn't look great. As I mentioned earlier, there are also multiple key dates ahead. These events will bring volatility. They already are. We might see continued corrections in the coming hours as these dates approach. That said, I don't necessarily believe that these events, like the reciprocal tariffs starting on April 2nd, will automatically lead to a further market correction. From a technical perspective, the situation isn't great, as we will see in a moment. However, I don't think April 2nd will be a sell the news event, because it's already priced in. Investors and traders selling right now are in part doing so because of the tariff announcement. Markets don't work in a way where people wait for an event to happen before reacting. Markets always try to anticipate events. What they dislike the most is uncertainty. On April 2nd, we have certainty. Reciprocal tariffs will begin. More uncertain events, however, are the U.S. unemployment rate data on Friday and the CPI inflation report on April 10th. This is why I find it misleading when some analysts call April 2nd doomsday because of the tariffs. In reality, I believe this news has already been priced in. What we are seeing is just some additional volatility leading up to the event. Bitcoin and the stock market. To better understand Bitcoin's current situation, let's take a look at the stock market first. As I've said many times in this period, it's crucial to watch the stock and bond markets before looking at Bitcoin. Let's start with the S&P 500. Imagine if, for example, on Wednesday, Trump comes out and says, "Okay, no tariffs. We have reached an agreement with Canada, Mexico." What do you think will happen to the markets? They will skyrocket. And this is to say that at the moment we are in a very volatile period, and the movements are heavily influenced by these external events. So let's take a look at Bitcoin to see what we can expect from the charts. Bitcoin, as mentioned before, has followed the stock market in recent days, and we saw a loss of key support levels. I personally expected a bounce over the weekend, but that didn't happen, and we saw further downward pressure. Right now, Bitcoin is trading below the 21-period moving average and is struggling to regain momentum. If we continue to see weakness in the stock market, Bitcoin could follow suit and drop further. However, it's important to keep in mind that Bitcoin often has unpredictable price action. While it's following traditional markets now, we could see a decoupling if there's a sudden surge in buying pressure or a major news event in the crypto space. That's why I always say, Stay informed and don't make rash decisions based on emotions. Now let's look at possible short-term scenarios. Bullish scenario. If Bitcoin manages to reclaim key levels, we could see a recovery toward $85,000 and above, especially if the stock market stabilizes. Bearish scenario. If selling pressure continues and Bitcoin fails to hold support, we could be looking at a drop to $78,000 or lower. Personally, I am being cautious and waiting for confirmation before taking any aggressive trades. If we get a strong bounce, I might look for a long position, but if weakness persists, I'll consider shorting opportunities. Let's also talk about Ethereum, which has been showing similar behavior to Bitcoin. ETH has been struggling to break through resistance at $4,500, and if Bitcoin continues to show weakness, we could see Ethereum retesting lower levels. That being said, Ethereum has some strong fundamentals, especially with the continued growth of Layer 2 solutions and institutional interest. So, while short-term price action is uncertain, long-term prospects remain strong. Key takeaways. The markets are currently reacting heavily to macroeconomic events, including political and financial news. Bitcoin has lost key support levels and is struggling to regain momentum. Ethereum is following Bitcoin's movements but has strong fundamentals supporting it in the long term. It's crucial to stay patient and wait for confirmations before entering trades. For now, I recommend staying updated with the latest news and keeping an eye on key support and resistance levels. Don't trade emotionally. Make sure to have a solid strategy in place. What's next for Bitcoin and Ethereum? At this point, the market's next moves will largely depend on external factors such as macroeconomic news, institutional activity, and overall sentiment. If Bitcoin can reclaim the $66,000 level and establish it as support, we could see a potential recovery towards $70,000. However, if weakness persists, a deeper correction could follow, with key support zones around $60,000 and even $58,000. Ethereum, on the other hand, needs to hold above $4,200 to prevent further downside pressure. If it manages to regain momentum, the next major resistance level to watch will be around $4,700. Final thoughts. For now, the best approach is to remain patient and observe key technical levels before making any trading decisions. Market volatility is high, and emotions can lead to impulsive mistakes. Stay disciplined, manage your risk properly, and always trade with a clear strategy. Let me know in the comments what you think.